Hythloday, first of all, you admit the crucial thing here, which is that you wouldn't let me initiate questions. You characterize that as interviewing you, but you initiated questions. And my breaking the no swearing rule wasn't 5 minutes later. It was more like 45 minutes into the hour. And when I'm judging the conversation that I'm criticizing you for, it's that first hour where it was just you and me, which meant you controlling the line of questioning. And the questions you mentioned that I asked were clarifications in your line. The idea is, yeah, first of all, you can go back and forth, but I asked you if you can't handle it, you should have said then. Okay. But it doesn't make really two conversations, yes, to some degree, and I have no problem with that. But you see, you ask a question and we go back and forth. I didn't say you didn't let me speak. I said you didn't let me begin any of the inquiries. And then we go back and forth. But for us to then switch to me asking an inquiry and actually multitask back and forth, it requires that you ask a question that's a small enough chunk that in 5 to 10 minutes, you know, we can answer it. And so we get to, a dozen, half a dozen questions back and forth each. So that is actually possible to do. Now, the 30-second average, yeah, I did propose that. That sounds short. But what I really said was that a minute, you look at the clock when you start, and if the next time you look at the clock it's a different minute, you stop. And I implied that that would be on average 30 seconds. Well, really, it would probably average more. People push it. Plus, you might look back at the clock and it's been 2 minutes. The point is, this is a way to keep it short. It will go on 2 minutes plenty of times when people are listening, but if once people are like, hey, let's go to the other side, you know that there's some reason instead of just going on and on. Now, when you directed the inquiry, you just wanted me to restate what I'd said already in videos, and then you restated what you said. Okay, I didn't find that useful at all. The conversation that you're talking about that got good was later when we all started talking and we talked to each other. And and that's fine. That's why we did that. That's why we only gave us an hour. But the conversation with you, uh, you didn't want to let me start any inquiries. You think I'm going to try to catch you. You're frightened by that. It's not an inquisition if I just start the inquiry. You don't even know because you didn't answer it. But yeah, it was going to be in detail, which is funny about your complaints that you don't want to go address my things in detail. I've done over determined amounts of addressing of your details, and you go, but I'm just talking generally. I don't want to talk details. Do you remember that? Always complaining. I want to talk generally. Uh, you're talking too many details, Piero. Forget those details. I have addressed this. What about when private economies collapse? That's fine, but the subject is not that because you said, oh, I'm the one that asked for the chat room. Yeah, that's clear you asked. That doesn't mean that you're going to be the total controller of it. That's why we had a discussion about what you expected in that regard. You should have been more clear. Because it's also clear that all of these threads have been questions I initiated. I have some initiation of the topic. The topic isn't the Soviet Union work on its own, and as far as you want to bring that in, I have addressed it 50 million times, it seems like to me. Okay. But then the details, doing one by one details like you asked, that involves, well, what is this system? Is it really like having a whole giant controlled economy, or is it really just a, pensioner idea? So you call me intellectually lazy, but you're the one that's complaining that you want to keep it general. I've addressed I'm getting bored at the general level. The general level was addressed in just a couple videos as far as I'm concerned. We immediately are prepared to go into the details. You've already had acknowledgments on, yeah, if you make a total, if you have the government fix all the prices and have no markets and that kind of controlled economy, that fails. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. I brought up the subject. Then, if you wanted to say, well, no, I intended to control it, then you should have said so. I would have rejected that because you do a bad job of controlling it. You're trying to skirt around issues where you don't want to be put on the third degree. Well, why are you here? These are your opinions. Don't you want to get them out there and including in detail? So your questions are like, yeah, I had a chance to talk. I had a chance to follow up on something you had initiated. You asked me something. I'd answer, you'd say something, I'd go, wait, what do you mean by that? Yeah, that's a question. That's not the same as me starting the inquiry. You would not let me do that. Now, if you think that that's the third degree, well, yeah, I mean, it's a way to get a lot of detailed information. You know, get the details out. Okay, if you're not able to do that, then there's a problem. You know, if you'll do that, then it'll continue. Just let me initiate some questions. You know, we'll do another one. Record it this time, and we'll spend an hour. But let me initiate the questions. Oh no, the Socratic method, that evil Socratic method, known for just discovering some of the truths that we've relied on the last couple thousand years. Anyway, cheers.